సాక్షాత్ శివ మహాదేవుడు తన పరివార గణంతో సహా కొలువైన పరమ పుణ్య పావన క్షేత్రం కైలాసగిరి. ప్రపంచంలోనే అత్యంత క్లిష్టమైన యాత్రగా కైలాస మానస సరోవర యాత్రను భక్తులు అభివర్ణిస్తారు. ఈ నేపథ్యంలో తన భక్తులకు కూడా కైలాస మానస సరోవరాన్ని సందర్శింపచేయాలని సదుద్దేశంతో ప్రపంచ ప్రసిద్ధ ఆధ్యాత్మిక గురువు ఈషా ఫౌండేషన్ వ్యవస్థాపకుడు జగ్గి వాసుదేవ్ నడుం బిగించారు. కైలాస మానస సరోవర యాత్ర విశేషాలను తెలుసుకునే ముందు ఈషా ఫౌండేషన్ వ్యవస్థాపకుడు జగ్గి వాసుదేవ్తో జరిపిన ముఖాముఖి విశేషాలను మనమిప్పుడు తెలుసుకుందాం.
నేను విస్మితాని. నాకు నేను అనే ప్రశ్న ఎదురయ్యేలా చేసింది ఓ సంఘటన. నా స్నేహితులతో కలిసి సరదాగా యోగా చేద్దామని ఈషా యోగాకి వెళ్ళాను కోయంబత్తూరులో. అక్కడ నా జీవితంలో ఊహించలేని మలుపు. నాతో పాటు నా కుటుంబ సభ్యులు, స్నేహితులు చాలా మంది ఇన్స్పైర్ అయ్యారు. ఇలా ఎంతో మంది అద్భుతమైన అనుభూతిని పొందుతున్నారు. ఈ మెటామార్ఫసిస్ కి కారణం సద్గురు 1992లో ఈషా యోగా సెంటర్ని కోయంబత్తూరులో స్థాపించి ఎన్నో లైఫ్ చేంజింగ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్స్ ని ప్రజలకు అందిస్తున్నారు. ప్రాజెక్ట్ గ్రీన్ హ్యాండ్స్ ద్వారా హైయెస్ట్ నంబర్ ఆఫ్ ట్రీస్ ప్లాంట్ చేసి గిన్నిస్ బుక్ ఆఫ్ వరల్డ్ రికార్డ్స్ లో స్థానం సంపాదించుకోవటమే కాకుండా అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారి చేతుల మీదుగా ఇందిరాగాంధీ పర్యావరణ పురస్కార్ అవార్డు కూడా అందుకున్నారు సద్గురు. ఇటువంటి మహాయోగితో స్వయంగా మాట్లాడడం నా అదృష్టంగా భావిస్తున్నాను. సద్గురు, ఈరోజు నాకు ఈ ఆపర్చునిటీ వచ్చినందుకు చాలా ఆనందంగా ఉంది మీతో మాట్లాడడానికి. ఈషా యోగా, ఈషా ఫౌండేషన్ అంటే మీ మాటల్లో ఏంటి, అండ్ వాట్ వాజ్ ద రీజన్ బిహైండ్ putting it together, Isha Yoga in Coimbatore?
Isha Yoga was not something that I thought up. It is just a small expression of what happens within me. So, it was inevitable, not a choice.
కోయంబత్తూరులో ఈషా ఫౌండేషన్ కెళ్ళటం అయింది నేను ఒకసారి. అండ్ అక్కడ ప్రతి ఇంట్రికేట్ డీటెయిల్ చాలా ఫ్యాసినేటింగ్ గా ఉంటుంది. ఎస్పెషలీ ధ్యానలింగం చూసి ఇట్ వాజ్ లైక్ అ మ్యాజిక్. ఆర్కిటెక్ట్స్ కూడా అర్థం కాని మ్యాజిక్. సో దాన్ని ఎలా క్రియేట్ చేశారు, అండ్ వాట్స్ బిహైండ్ ది ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ ఆఫ్ ద ధ్యానలింగ, అండ్ వాట్స్ బిహైండ్ ద ధ్యానలింగ?
As the name suggests, it's Dhyanalinga. It's created for meditative purposes, not for worship, not for ritual, but for meditation. It is not that you meditate upon it, it's not that. It's not that kind of a thing. It is just that if you are just in its sphere, it will make you meditative. Because meditation is not an act, meditation is a certain quality. So Dhyanalinga exudes that quality of meditation in such a powerful way. Even a person who knows nothing about meditation will naturally become meditative. So, if you ask me, it is a powerful tool to make human consciousness meditative. So this was my Guru's dream, and I lived in such a way that for almost 25 years of my life, I lived with a single point agenda. There's only one agenda in my mind, to make that happen. And it took over 18 years of preparation and another 3.5 years of actually making it happen. And today it is standing there. The true value of it, the power of it, it will take much more time for people to realize what it really is, because it's a storehouse of knowing. Or in other words, Dhyanalinga gives people a rare privilege of being able to do sadhana in the presence of a live Guru. Now I'm here, how many people get to actually do sadhana in my presence is very little. Here and there in snatches, but not continuously. But Dhyanalinga gives you that opportunity. If you stay there for a week or 10 days or a month and do sadhana, you are actually doing sadhana in the presence of a live Guru. In every way, it is a living, the highest level of human being living there, without the disadvantages of a physical body. Energy-wise, It is the peak human being sitting there. It's Adi Yogi himself sitting there. That's how it is.
వాట్ ఇస్ కాన్సిక్రియేషన్, ప్రతిష్ఠ అంటే ఏంటి, అండ్ కాన్సిక్రియేషన్ ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఏంటి?
Consecration means if you make mud into food, we call this agriculture. If you make food into flesh and bone, we call this digestion. So consecration is similar process of transformation. If you make stone into divine, gross into the subtlest possible dimension, that's called as consecration.
A lot of multinational companies, చాలా పెద్ద కార్పొరేట్ హౌసెస్ మీ అడ్వైజ్ హెల్ప్, దే సీక్ యువర్ అడ్వైజ్ అండ్ హెల్ప్ టు డెవలప్ దేర్ ఎంప్లాయీస్. సో ఏ రకంగా బెనిఫిట్ పొందడానికి వాళ్ళు మీ దగ్గరికి వస్తారు?
Unfortunately, the press covers only the corporate activity, not the rural activity. 70% of our work is in rural India. For me, the work is with human beings, wherever they are. We're doing lots of programs for police people, we're doing a lot of programs for the prisoners, we're doing programs for politicians, for corporates, for rural masses, ordinary people in the world, all kinds of people. Because for me, my work is with human beings, I don't care where they are.
మాకు ఈషా విద్య గురించి, సంస్కృతి గురించి కొంచెం చెప్పగలరా?
3 types of education systems we are running right now. One is Isha Vidya, which is rural education, which is regular, state board system, but delivered with a certain sensitivity. Emphasis being on English language, science and mathematics. It is normal education like any other state board school, but delivered in a different way, which is making all the difference. The next dimension of education we are doing is called Isha Home School, which is a unique form of education, which is run in a certain way. The basic mode of the school is 20 children and a couple, a dedicated couple, will enter a home. The home is a school by itself. All the school facility is inside a large household. Children live in this house along with this couple. Next 10 years, this couple take care of them. Everything happens, the school happens inside the house. Only for labs, library and sports, they go out. Otherwise, the home itself is a school. Like this, we have about 16 homes right now, and the number of houses are being built more. So this is a home school. This school, the teacher-student ratio is, for every 4 students, there is 1 adult teacher. It's a very expensive way of running the school. Children are exposed to a variety of things. Their range of activities is so absolutely fantastic. The another thing is the Isha Samskriti. This is not formal education. This comes in a different way. Children come at 6 and leave at 18 with us. They don't go through normal classes and things like that. They have only 6 subjects. They learn English language, Sanskrit language, yoga, classical music, Carnatic music, classical dance and Kalaripaitu for first 4 years. After that, they'll drop 2 subjects that they don't want to continue with. They'll continue with 4 for next 2 years. In these 2 years, they make their choices and they'll drop 2 more and they'll keep only 2. So let's say they keep music and dance or English and Sanskrit or something like this. Other basic things will be there. There are workshops to educate them about mathematics, arithmetics, banking, practical things that they need to know about their life, geography, history, this kind of things. When they come to 16 or 17 years of age, they will take open school examinations to pass their 10th standard, which we train them to do. It is designed to help his body to grow to its fullest level, a nominal amount of physical activity and a lot of mental activity, variety of mental activity which helps him to grow his mind, to make mental and physical capabilities reach their peak without loading him with information. This is the idea of this education.
జగ్గి వాసుదేవ్ అని ఒక నార్మల్ మనిషి మా అందరిలాగా ఒకరిని సద్గురువుగా కన్వర్ట్ చేసింది ఏంటి అండ్ అది జరిగింది ఎలా?
This is the only thing I did. I grew up completely unidentified with everything around me, not influenced by anything. My greatest achievement is I remained uneducated, consciously uneducated. One afternoon, I just happened to go and sit on top of Chamundiji. I'm in a different kind of thing, there's no question of spiritual process in me. That afternoon I went and sat there, my eyes were still open. Till that moment I always believed this is me and this is somebody else. I have no issue with this somebody, but this is me, that is somebody else. But suddenly I did not know which is me, which is not me. What was me was just all over the place. The very air that I breathe, the atmosphere around me, the rock on which I'm sitting, everything had become me. I thought this madness lasted for about 5–10 minutes, but when I came back to my normal awareness, about 4.5 hours had passed. For the first time in my adult life, tears were coming in my eyes. Me and tears were just impossible. I lived like this. And this full 4.5 hours, tears have been flowing, my shirt is wet. I've always been peaceful and happy, that is not an issue because as a young person I'm doing well, I'm very successful with what I'm doing. I'm doing whatever I want to do, so being peaceful and happy was not the issue. But here every cell in my body was bursting with a different kind of ecstasy and blissfulness for which I had no words. So when I came back to my normal consciousness, I went and sat there at 3. It was 7:30 in the evening. But in my experience, I thought it's only 10 minutes. So when I really shook my head wanting to find a logical explanation to what's happening, the only thing that my mind could tell me was maybe I'm losing my balance, But it was so beautiful, I didn't want to lose it for a moment. This started repeating itself, I just sit in one place, I think it's 2 minutes, 7–8 hours have just gone by. So once it so happened, I sat in a place, I thought it is just about 25–30 minutes, but 13 days had gone by. By then, a few people had gathered around me and people asking me where to dig their borewell. People are falling at my feet, putting garlands around me. Somebody wants to know about his business, somebody wants to know when his daughter will get married. All the nonsense I hated was beginning to happen around me. So I decided to move out of the place and travel for some time, try to find some kind of semblance within myself. What was happening within me, I can never ever articulate. But even my physical body changed so dramatically that people around me could notice the shape of my eyes change, my voice changed, my gait changed just automatically, just like that. There's a whole realignment in my system within about 6 to 8 weeks, and a flood of memory entered me. This is not something that people can easily believe, but lifetimes of memory just poured into me in such a way that it was an overwhelming experience. I couldn't deal with it, being in normal atmospheres, being among my family, being with friends and business, I couldn't handle it. So I moved away for some time, I just traveled by myself, just to come to some kind of order within myself, because the volume of memory that came to me was so big. Suddenly, in about 8 weeks' time or 10 weeks' time, that old person just vanished completely. A new scheme of memory, new level of awareness, new dimension of experience. It was almost like, I disappeared and somebody else happened. It was like that. So since then, what has happened in the last 30 years is indescribable within myself. Even what's happened around me is too fairy tales for people to believe. Only those people who witnessed it will believe it. For others, it's too fairy tales, that's why I never talk about it, because it is so illogical, it is so magical what's happening around me. Only people who are witness to it will believe it, and only they should believe it, others should not believe it.
Me advanced courses experience chesina chaala mandi. A lot of people have told me that you're none other than a reincarnation of Lord Shiva. Who are you?
Who is not an incarnation of Shiva? Everybody is, because what you call as Shiva is a boundless possibility. I'm willing all the time. That's all.
How important, Sadhguru, is matching horoscope of two people before they get married? హారోస్కోప్ అనేది మీరు నమ్ముతారా? హారోస్కోప్ అనేది మీరు నమ్ముతారా?
Why I call it horoscope is, if it can be written on paper how you are going to live, you are a horror. That means you have no possibility in you. You will only live by a chart that is being written by somebody else. This is a horrible way to live. So this is a horoscope. Human consciousness is such, if you give it a piece of bread, if you give it a morsel of rice, if you eat it, if you eat a banana, it becomes human body, isn't it? So there is something within you which is the very source of creation. There is an intelligence and a competence here which is the very basis of creation. When such an intelligence and competence exists within you, not in your thought, I am saying in the very making of every cell in this body, a competence and intelligence which is the basis of creation is here. When it is here, your future being written down on a paper, on some astronomical calculation is a disgrace. If you allow yourself to be influenced, just even anything can influence you, I'm telling you. But if you choose to get in touch with this inner dimension, you can influence everything in the existence. So if you're on a spiritual path, when you say I'm on a spiritual path, that's exactly what you're saying. You are saying I'm taking my destiny into my hands. So I'm talking about an inner science, another dimension of science with which you can become a master of your own destiny, not a slave of destiny.
Sadhguru, what are your future plans for Isha Yoga?
I have no plans of my own. I am only seeing what needs to be done. So in that context, in this country what is needed is definitely a spiritual regeneration is needed. When I say spiritual, I am not talking about going to the temple, mosque or church, not looking up or looking down, looking inward, exploring human possibility in its ultimate scope. This must happen to the country because this has been the strength of this nation for thousands of years. The next thing is, once they are well nourished, the next thing is education, empowering them with skills which need to happen. So we are working on the educational level. Whatever needs to happen in the country, we have to protect our land and ecology. So we are doing the project Green Hands. So these are not my plans. These are urgent needs for the nation.
According to you, an ideal man lives 160 years. Who's an ideal man?
I did not say an ideal man. I said in ideal conditions. So I said in ideal conditions. Ideal conditions means it includes right kind of food, nourishment, right kind of ecological atmosphere, right kind of work conditions, right kind of practices. If all these things are maintained, one can live up to 160 years. It is possibility, because a few have lived.
Sadhguru, it was wonderful spending this time with you and talking to you, and it was a great experience for me, and thank you so much.